Hey everyone. It's podcast night. Looks like the notifications are starting to go out. Turn that down. All right. So I hope everyone's had a good start to the week already. It is hump day. Let me know you're here by commenting in the chat. And we're going to get started here in a little bit. Hey, Amy, how are you? So tonight we're going to be talking about Riverside Cemetery, one of my favorite places to investigate. And we're doing good. Thank you. Amy and Marnie will have their birthdays in a couple days. So we're happy early birthday to both. And then my oldest daughter has her birthday on Saturday. And my grandson will probably be born in the next, let's say, it could be a few hours, it could be 24, 48 hours, something like that. But it's going to be very soon. I'll do that, Amy. So I know that I've had people tell me the notifications are going out real slow or they're getting them late. That's a YouTube thing. That's for sure. Um, let's see. So I've got everything set up. Thank you, Amy. Appreciate it. And let's see. There we go. Alrighty. So I'll give it a few more minutes, get some more people in here, then we'll start the discussion. I did put on TikTok. Hey sis, I did put on TikTok video of hey Bam, how are you? Thank you, Amy. Of the flashlight going off in here the other night. Um, it was doing some kind of like a Morse code type flashing. It was going crazy. And also as an orb I got a few nights before. Actually, the orb was like um maybe last week, just before I put Jane down on the thing with the mirror. And then the night after that is when the flashlight went off and did its crazy whatever it was doing. But if you didn't see it, it's on TikTok. Um, I think I shared it to Twitter too, I believe. So you can look at it either place. But um, that mirror seems to be having some kind of a strange something attached to it. Hey, Hawk the fam, how are you? I'll be talking about Riverside Cemetery in Asheville, North Carolina. Um, dates back to 1885. So it's a very old cemetery with well over 9,000. Well, there's well more than 9,000 buried. There's a poplar grave in there. I'm not exactly sure how many's in there, but um, anyway, it's all right. But I'll get to talking about that here in just a minute. And getting some replies I need to do there. Spirits Bama says hi to all of you. So, like I say, if you didn't see, talking about Sunday night's podcast. Wow, it was crazy. I got the static electricity feeling through my body. And been a long time since I've had something like that happen. It was a wild night. So yeah, this is so birthday's coming up. Plus my stepson's getting married on Friday. So it's a busy week. I should be able to do Sunday night though for sure. Excuse me. Alrighty. So we'll get ready to talk about that. Yeah, we got a lot going. Yeah. Motion active app that maybe fair. Okay, yeah, I'll check that out. Bam, I saw you put that on Twitter, and I definitely want to look at that later on when I get a moment. So I will definitely check that out. Hey, mom, um, and see what that's about. I'm always interested in giving some things some chances to see how they might work. Um, and speaking of trying to give some chances, today I went to go film. Just out of the blue, I decided, hey, let me go take my camera just in case I can film. Well, we've been getting the bands off of this Hurricane Ida and stuff, so it had not rained at all. Hey, Jenny, how are you? Thank you, and I will tell Marnie thank you. But I went out to film the cemetery. I hadn't been out there in a while, and no sooner did I get my intro filmed, it started pouring down rain, and so that ended my filming for the day. So that was not a whole lot of fun. Oh, but I'll try to go back in maybe a few weeks or so. I head in that area for about once a month, so when I go back again, I'll definitely try to film. Hopefully, we won't have no big bands of rain from a hurricane. And I pray for everybody that's been in the path of this Ida and Fred. We had some devastating stuff happening when Fred slammed us here. Yep, Katie's birthday too on Saturday. I mentioned that earlier. We got a lot of stuff going on. Oh, it is a busy, busy, busy week. And so yeah, a place called Haywood County got hammered. So it was it's bad. So prayers for everybody. Okay, so we got quite a few in now. We'll get this podcast started. And if you missed any of our podcasts, just go into our playlist section. There's a podcast section, and you can click on all of them. Amy and Bama are both in here tonight, and they both have done podcasts with me. So please check them all out. The app is free. It's called Motion Detector Mobile and Toys Tool. Okay, Bama, I will definitely give that a shot later on and maybe download it when I get my phone back in Wi Fi. I keep it out of Wi Fi out here. It just doesn't pick up good. Luckily, the laptop picks up pretty good, though. Okay, so let me get the phone where I can read the chat as we're going along. If you have any questions, just please feel free to ask them. And if I miss them, please just ask them again. I'll be looking up and down. Um, and thank you, Jenny, for posting all of our social media. We do appreciate that. Jenny is the mod goddess who helps us all out with that. We do appreciate it. Okay, so Riverside Cemetery is a place that I have filmed. Me and Marnie's been there. April and Slim has been there with us. Steph from Steph Adventures has been there with us. Shivering Shimmy, Melanie and Michael have been there with us. So we've gone with quite a few people. When people come in and we're going to film with someone, that and Hell's Bridge are the two places we always take them. I think it's very historical and pretty haunted. So again, I'll be reading from Asheville Terrors. I'm not associated with them in any way, shape, or form, but I do encourage you to check them out. Um, they have a lot of good sites, and they have group tours and stuff. There's a lot of things you can do with this Asheville Terrors, so it's pretty cool. So please check them out. Okay, so let's go to the backstory just a little bit, and we'll kind of follow through as this goes. It says Riverside Cemetery in Asheville, North Carolina, is the final resting place of many famous and notable residents. Before that, it served as the site of one of America's Civil War's final battles. Today, it stands as one of the most popular landmarks in the city of Asheville. Though it may come to no surprise, it comes with a share of hauntings, and we're going to be looking at that in this page. So it does. If you're familiar with Thomas Wolfe, he's a writer, died very young. He was from Asheville. He is buried there. We've done a few investigations there at his headstone, and gotten a few things. People usually leave pens and markers and writing utensil type stuff for him, and sometimes coins. Um, so the Battle of Asheville is a place where this stood. In 18, let's see, the Battle of Asheville took place in 1865. So 20 years before it became a cemetery. This was considered to be one of the final battles of the American Civil War. General Robert E. Lee and the Confederates would later surrender to the Union, and approximately 3 days later, a Union colonel by the name of Isaac Kirby had planned on overrunning the Confederate forces and capture the city without any casualties, though he believed to have prepared his army men for an attack against 1,000 Confederate soldiers. Only 300 of them, under the command of Colonel George Clayton, could bear arms. Um, though they were thoroughly outnumbered, Clayton's Confederate forces utilized two Napoleon cannons against Kirby attachments over about 1,100 soldiers. So it goes on to talk about the Battle of Asheville in more in depth. And if you want to check it out, you can. That's a lot to go through. So I know we only got about an hour. So um, we'll kind of skip through a little bit of that. But a long story short, people, there was a war there 20 years before it became a cemetery. Excuse me. Let me see if I can hang on just a moment, and I will see about copying and pasting Asheville Terrors into the chat. And if you guys want to read along or check it out later, please do. You got the word few. All right, there you go. So if you guys want to click onto that, you're more than welcome to, and check it out now, later, whenever. Okay, so the next part of it is talking about the from when it became the cemetery until now, and then the hauntings. So we'll get into that now. So, 20 years after the Battle of Asheville, the need for a cemetery was growing. Thus, the land where the battle took place was available. It was established as a cemetery in 1885 and it remains an active cemetery to this day. As of today, more than 13,000 people are in the cemetery, buried in the cemetery. This also includes well over 9,000 monuments and mausoleums. And if you appreciate artwork, this cemetery might be a good place. And it is. It's really cool, and there's a lot of beauty to it, especially in the fall. If you go there and walk, just take a tour in the fall. It's absolutely. I think, far as hauntings, it's a little more active in the fall, and from what I've somewhat found, and it's also a beautiful and kind of relaxing. People go in there and walk through, walk, well, they used to walk the dogs. I don't think they're allowed to do that anymore, but people go in there and take walks and jogs through there. As you go into the front gate, you can get some it's a map tour that you can keep, and you can tour the entire cemetery and whoever you're looking for, like Thomas Wolfe or O. Henry. You can find them, and Marnie's sister is buried in there too. So we go see her, and uh, just we've investigated. I haven't not covered that entire cemetery. There's so many different places in that cemetery I've not investigated. Most of the most notable people that are buried there, I have, but I've not covered that whole cemetery like I would like. I'm just now getting to some of them, like John Evans Brown, who owned Zelandia Castle, which is attached to Helen's Bridge. So I'm starting to get all this stuff. Um, Halfway watch House and Alex. Okay, so and this is where it talks about notable persons buried here. Um, because this is indeed a graveyard, it does come with a plenty of stories of ghost or no ghost. Some of them are quite fascinating, while others are quite gruesome. While so many people are buried here, many interred here, excuse me, have a unique story behind them. So let's get into some of them real quick. Okay, so William Sidney Porter. Some people may know him, others may not. Our third cousin is buried there too. I had to find out. Yeah, send me that name later on, and I'll check them out when I go back. Maintain. So, if you have ever heard the name of William Sidney Porter, and I remember that as a kid, but you may know him better as O. Henry. That was his pen name or his right name that he would write with. And I have investigated there and got a little bit of stuff that pertains to him, not a lot. So it's hard to tell if it's him or if it's somebody else that knew him or something of that nature. Okay, Amy. Um, so O. Henry was a writer that would always write something and end it with a surprise of some kind. His writings were captivating and quite interesting. If you ever visit his grave, you'll notice that there are plenty of pennies that are lying on his headstone. This is said to be paying homage to the famous quote in one of his short stories, to quote the story of Maggie. $1.87 and 60 cents of it was pennies or in pennies. If you have a penny or two to spare, O. Henry himself would probably appreciate the gesture. Um, and I have, like I said, I've been there. I don't know if I've left a penny there before. Definitely will when I go back, for sure. Savannah and rise and increase. Okay. Excuse me. So the next famous person there, and there's more. Um, Most are well known to the area in the state, not so much um, like writers and stuff. But the second writer is there, and a lot of you may know who Thomas Wolfe is. And like I say, he died young. He's in his 30s. I don't remember the age exactly. Let me see if I can see that. But he was young. Um, I think it was like 38, I believe is what it was. Something like that. 37, 38. So that's young. Um, it says another famous author that is also buried here is Thomas Wolfe. Some may know him for his writings of My Old Kentucky Home, but his most famous piece of work was a novel called Look Homeward Angel. And we studied that in school. I remember as an elementary school we did. May have been third or fourth grade, I think. The work would often leave the people would leave, his fans rather, would leave pins and flower urns in the gravesite. Some have snuck in bourbon as a tribute to Thomas Wolfe and his Kentucky roots. If you drink, you might want to keep the bourbon at home, assuming you're traveling. Plus, drinking in the cemetery might be against the rules. I don't know that is or not exactly. I've never seen anything like that. It says it's against the rules to drink in there, but they probably would frown on it some. But we have left pens and pencils before. Um, and it's been it's one of my favorite places to investigate. Again, we've take everybody we've filmed with has gone to Thomas Wolfe's grave. Um, so if I film with you in Nashville, we probably will go to Thomas Wolfe's. But there's also a variety of soldiers, including the Confederate generals James Martin and one notable general known for commanding the group, the Confederate soldiers, and defending North Carolina against the Union forces. Another notable figure in the Confederacy was Zebulon Vance. He was known as the War Governor of the South. Aside from his service in the Confederate Army, he was also known as a politician. He served as the state's U.S. Senator and Governor. So, and I have been at his heads where he's buried, and there is a headless, what is it called? A headless statue there. It's pretty creepy once you start checking it out. And, but let's see. We'll go into the hauntings here in just a moment. If anybody's got any questions, please ask. Feel free to ask about it. We like I say have done quite a few investigations in different parts of the cemetery. Um, the most recent one that's up on our page is the B.F. Addison investigation, where the flashlight goes off. That's at Riverside. He's buried there. Hub container laws, public intoxication, toxic, dry counties. Yeah. There's a lot of things. Yeah, I wouldn't go in there with any kind of alcohol. I think I would leave that alone, to be honest with you. But but yeah, the B.F. Addison one, James Bailey, the officer. Those two were shot down by Will Harris that I talked about in our last podcast. Um, and so they're both buried in there. And thank you, Jenny. And so yeah, check that video out. Check out all of our Riverside Cemetery videos. I've got quite a few. Um, one of the times we were in there filming, we got ran out because there were bears in there. That was a first. Probably not for the bears, but for us, we had never encountered a bear at Riverside Cemetery. So there were two in there, and they were both having a picnic lunch. Um, so there you go. So here is some of the apparent hauntings. Um, throughout a cemetery, though it is a cemetery, it does come with stories of various hauntings that have taken place. Many of the cemetery visitors, by the way of a guided tour or on their own accord, have heard multiple gunshots and even some cannon fires. Now, I will admit, I have thought I've heard a cannon fire in there before. It is weird. It's like very faint, but you can make it out enough to where it sounds like a cannon going off. Something of that nature. I mean, it's loud in a way, but it's not extremely loud to where like if a cannon actually went off right now, we'd all hear it, right? But you can hear it like in a distance, but you know what it is. So I have had that kind of experience before. Some have seen spirits, one or even multiple Confederate soldiers marching in formation and disappearing off a distance. I have noticed once myself a shadow in there. I unfortunately did not get that on camera. I wish I had. But I was actually in between filming and kind of taking a little break. I've been filming for a bit, so I took a little break, and I did catch a shadow, and it was right near where Thomas Wolfe's at. Now, one of the first times I filmed in there too, I was near where Zebulon Vance is buried in that area, and and I'm filming, and I'm walking up this hill going back to Thomas Wolfe, where Marnie was at, and I hear this ruffling through the grass, and I turn around thinking, well, maybe somebody's running, because they usually do that in there, or maybe an animal had went by quick. There was nothing at all, but you could hear like something just going right through the grass, like it was running through the grass. Um, that was a pretty wild experience. I've had experiences in the Jewish part of the cemetery as well. Had a camera shut off on me in there. Shouldn't had it, just went right off. Um, so I've had some unique experiences in there that it's unexplained. So, but it's one of the best places to investigate. Okay, so it goes on. It says others who have visited the cemetery said that they have also heard children laughing and playing. I've never experienced that. This is said to occur in the mornings when the weather tends to be foggy, and I've actually been in there when it's been real foggy in the mornings, um, but I didn't encounter that. Rumor has it that many of the spirits belong to children who died by way of illness or accident. Considering that yellow fever epidemic swept through the South during the 19th century, most children buried here may have been among those victims, and that is very true. Alabama's got star. Bears are paying respect to the fish. Could have been. There is a creek that kind of runs down in there. It's I got some kind of weird noise in there one time from that creek area. I can never explain it. It sounded like an animal, possibly like near the bank where this creek goes in, it goes into the creek. And I filmed, and it's on YouTube. I filmed where I was at in this little hidden section of the cemetery, and I couldn't figure it out. I never found anything. I looked and I put the camera in places I was looking, trying to, like maybe I can go back and find this later. I never did, but it was like something was ruffling around. And I'm thinking, I thought at first maybe it was maybe a cub, maybe a small bear, or um, maybe a groundhog or something. But it couldn't have been like it wasn't a turtle or anything like that. It was too big for that. So honestly, I have no idea what it was. That was unexplained. Yeah, that water can help get the activity going. That's for sure. Jenny, yeah, that does help, and especially just right after a rain sometimes. And when we're out here in the shed, sometimes when it's raining, we get more activity. So it does help. But I couldn't explain that. I could not explain what that ruffling was, what it was. I could never figure it out. I never came across anything, but yet I continuously heard it. And so I even turned the camera off at one point in time just to try to like look in this area, what is going on. And I could hear it. And I was looking in the area where I'm hearing it, like standing on top almost of where it's at, and could never figure out what was moving around. And the grass wasn't that high. So I don't know. Casualty? Yeah, there was some casualties in their spirits. Yeah, there sure was. Especially being a battleground, and yeah. And it goes on and says, while there are 13,000 people buried, rumor has it there may be even more, and I think so as well. That's because most of the graves are unmarked. If you're walking the cemetery grounds, you may want to keep your feet on the 3.5 mile asphalt path. You never know if you may accidentally step on a grave. Um, there's a popular area, at least one area in there I know of that is of some unknown, and that's possibly a place too where they say Will Harris might be buried, the man who shot people in downtown Asheville. But that's never. As a matter of fact, they said his body was lost. They never knew where it was at actually. But one of the rumors was he was buried there, and didn't want him to be buried near in the same cemetery as Bailey was, the patrolman, the officer. But But those experiences that I've had in there have have all been unexplained. Um, and then you get words that um, kind of go along with what you're looking for sometimes. But spirits in there, there's so many of them. They'll pull you in many different directions on that ghost tool. You'll get all kinds of different um, things pop up, and uh, if I'm investigating John Doe, I may get the name Joseph and Bill and Bob, and I mean, it's just like all kinds of things pop up in there. And so I know there's a lot of people in there, so I'm sure the spirits are moving around enough to where they're trying to get your attention. But I never felt anything horrible going on in there. I will tell you, so a couple more experiences I've heard about. Um, hey Sandra, how are you? That would make sense because the last article that I found said no one wanted to claim Harris's body. Yeah, nobody did. They hated that man because of what he did to all the people in downtown. Um, so there's no telling what really happened to that body. You know, display. And that's funny you have that word that came up, Bama, because they did for a while put Harris's body on display for people to see it and to make everybody know, hey, he's dead. Here it is. Um, but they don't know what happened to it after that. So God only knows where people might have took that body. I mean, it could very well be buried in Riverside. And I have tried to investigate to find it, but I've never come up with anything that would lead me to that. So I don't know. Thank you again, Jenny. So it says in conclusion, I'm going to do the conclusion here, and then I'm going to tell you some more stories that I've heard from Riverside. It says Riverside Cemetery is a place where you really want to check out during the day and maybe the early evening if allowed. And you can get in, I think you can stay in there till about 7 o'clock, 7 or 8 o'clock. I think it's the latest. I've been in there till like maybe 10 minutes before they shut down. Um, and you can't be in there very long, unfortunately. I wish I had the ability to be there overnight. I would love to do an overnight there. That would be the one place, if I could do an overnight, I would definitely stay there all night. But I respect, unless they gave me permission to do it. The cemetery has a lot of history and so many stories of those buried here. Don't be surprised if you start to get some strange, eerie feelings. If you hear gunshots, and probably should not be alarmed since it might be a common given it was the history of the Civil War. Asheville has plenty of haunted places to check out, and it does. Riverside is one of them. So that's the end of the blog that I've read from. And I'm going to talk about some more experiences I've had and others have. Let's see. Let's see. Bama says after 500 bullets, he should have. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's the same. Yeah, that's the same one I was talking about. Yeah, they loaded it. They just unloaded on him. Once they figured out he was in a bush, they just. I mean, I think they said at least 100. I think is what they counted for sure that went into his body. I mean, they unloaded rounds. I mean, they were just giving that man hell, and but they were mad. He killed some town folks and officers of the law. I mean, they were pissed and they wanted that man dead. So that they back in that day, it was nothing to have a posse, I guess, and go after somebody. This is like early 1900s. It's not like the old west, late old west maybe, but not the early old west. Um, but yeah, whew, that was something. Let's see. Okay, sis, thanks for sending that. I'll check it out later. He died when he was 27 years old. Okay, so our cousin who had died at 27. I will definitely investigate where he's at and see if there's any connection I can make. Um, for sure. Oop, about knocked the microphone over. Um, let's see. So let me get into. Actually, I want to turn off my phone and go back to the chat on the stream yards. Okay. Um, if I can find it. Okay, so that's the entire blog, and like I say, I'll put that in here one more time. And I'll let me paste that in there one more time so you can go check out website out if you like. It's a real cool website, and if you want to know more about some places that are haunted in Nashville, and just some of the places that I've been to, and there's still some places I still want to go and go back to. But okay, so one of the stories that I've heard, and this was somewhere I read, and I don't remember where it was. I read this, but there was a couple in there one night, a young couple, and I'm not sure where they were at in the cemetery. Didn't really say, but as they were just, I think they were in there just touring the cemetery. I don't think they were really visiting a family member or friend or anything. I think they were just touring it, which a lot of people do. And they saw an old man standing over top of a headstone, and they, kind of like he was sobbing, possibly had overalls on. Um, and so they were, very compassionate and thought, well, why don't we go up and you know uh, help? We'll pay our respects with this gentleman. Um, and the closer they got to him, they started realizing that he was a little bit transparent. And then by the time they got real close to him, he had disappeared. So it was a man. They realized that he was over top of a graveside that had a lady on it. So apparently he was grieving the loss of his wife. I would have to say, or maybe a daughter or something. But I think it was a wife from what they were saying. And so they just assumed that was him. He had died, and his apparition appears, and he's grieving over his wife. I've not experienced that. That would be if I had captured that on camera. That would be pretty wild. Um, I mean, I've gotten like orbs and stuff, but nothing like that. Um, let me see. There was I have heard a lot of the stories about people seeing shadow figures in there. The stories of gunfire, and like I said, I've heard what sounded like a cannon before, or at least that's what I thought it was. Um, could have been residual spirit, possibly. The closer they got to it, the real. I mean, he didn't recognize, or he didn't. From what I read on the story, he didn't acknowledge him in no way. So I would say that was you're right, Bama. Probably residual. Just he's there and then he goes away. Um, so I'm sure there's a lot of residual stuff that's going on in there from things that I've heard. Now they used to have. I don't think they do it since COVID now, but they used to have a hearse that would take people to different places and all the haunting places in Nashville. And me and Marnie thought about doing it, but she decided to do the trolley tour instead. But they do take you into Riverside, or they did take you into Riverside to talk about the hauntings and stuff. If they ever do that again, I would definitely like to take the hearse tour again, or the hearse tour, like I did the trolley tour. I like to do another tour again, and I'm sure they probably have more stories to tell and probably more experiences that people have had, for sure. Um, So I've never witnessed a soldier, although I've heard those stories as well, even without this blog that I read tonight. Um, place. Um, so you can feel different things in that cemetery if you're if you have empathy that allows you to feel things and sense things. Um, mine does. That's how I connect with spirits. Um, or possibly an intelligent haunting. It could have been. I'm thinking probably residual. I think it was just something that happens. I'd like to know if there's been more people who have witnessed that, but I've never noticed anything that's come up about it. Um, but carbohydrate and cast. Um, but let's see, where was I at? But yeah, my empathy, that I'm empathetic with spirits, and I'm able to um, sense and feel a lot of things. That's kind of like with Jane. I was kind of sensing that she was not happy Sunday night, that something was extremely bothering her from that mirror, which made me believe too, after I moved her and that K2 was still going off, that something was definitely um, attached to that mirror. Stunt and animal. Well, I did see a bear in there. That's for sure. I went there and looked for our cousin's grave because sure exactly, but where it was, but somehow I felt it pulled. Yeah, yeah, and yeah, that you've told me stuff like that before, sis, too. That you can feel things too, and Marnie does too. And that's another thing. Marnie for some reason, bless her heart, every time she goes to the cemetery, she is pulled to the children's and the babies. Every time she'll go in a cemetery, you're thinking there's probably no babies buried in this area. If you have Marnie with her, you're probably going to find it. Um, I don't know how many times that's. I think that's another reason why she don't go with me much anymore to cemeteries, because it just really bothers her. I do a lot of filming without her now. There's been a lot of things that's bothered her, and that's one of them. So she's dealt with that kind of stuff. But I feel like when I'm in there, I can feel all kinds of things. I don't feel anything really evil or angry in there. Um, a lot of sadness, some happiness, a lot of confusion. Things mostly not a ton of happiness, but a lot of confusion, a lot of sadness, maybe being upset. But nothing like vicious or angry. I've never felt anything that in Riverside about that, which is real good because I've been to some cemeteries where I'm like, oh, I gotta get out of here, and because you just keep feeling just dread all the time. Um, but Riverside is beautiful though. If you do go, if you ever get a chance to go, it's beautiful. Anybody got any questions or? I'll be more than happy to answer them. If I can, I will definitely answer them. Um, like I say, we've done some investigations at Marnie's sister's gravesite, and not got a lot. Gotten some things, but not a lot. Um, Nothing totally pertaining to hers per se. Yeah, I think Jane's fine. Um, she's still up on the shelf. She's not near the mirror no more, so I think she's fine there. The flashlight going off with Michael was kind of wild. Why was guy killed? The you talking about the you talking about Will Harris? He was killed because he killed people. They went after him. The posse went after Will Harris. B.F. Addison and James Bailey are two of the people I talked about last week. Bailey was a patrolman officer. He was shot and killed by Harris, and so was Addison. He was a shop owner. Um, but yeah, Harris was shot and killed because they hunted him down. Create and King. Um, and I do have a couple of videos in the Eagle Street area that we filmed where all that happened. And Marnie narrates, I think both of them. We did. We have one. It's called Haunted Places in Downtown Asheville. Um, and it happened like we did it. I think it was Halloween about 4 years ago, right around Halloween time. Right after we actually is after we took the trolley tour, and we were out filming. I think it was like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning before we ever got home that night, and we were filming for a while after the trolley tour. But we talk about that and the gallows and everything. It's in that area. Near that's just right near to Eagle Street. Oh, thank you, Bama. Yeah, it was. It's an interesting story for sure. Um, but Eagle Street is haunted too. It's haunted with spirits of the, possibly Bailey and Addison and maybe even Harris. Um, yeah. So, excuse me. So, back to Riverside, I guess. But all the just all the different places at Riverside. There's just like I say, you got Thomas Wolfe, you got old Henry Vance, Zebulon Vance. There's some. Um, there's all kinds of soldiers buried in there from different eras of wars, but Civil War, World War II, and then most recent wars. It's like I read, it's still an active cemetery, so people are still being buried in there. Um, so there's just all kinds of I mean, place after place, through there. And the mausoleums are real cool. There's no indoor mausoleums like the ones I go, like that one I go to sometimes. Oh, thank you, man. Yeah, the Addison investigation was pretty wild. That was flashlight coming on. That was pretty wild. Um, Bailey, I didn't try that with Bailey's grave because I didn't have it at the time. I didn't have the flashlight with me. But yeah, and thank you for putting that too up, Jeannie. The mausoleum where the Rampart went crazy. That was pretty wild. Um, but yeah, so yeah, go back and check out. Most everything's in our paranormal playlist with Oh, thank you, Jeannie. Appreciate it. Um, so just go to the paranormal playlist. I still got to add more the videos to that playlist. That takes a while because a lot of times I just forget to do it when I first load the videos up, so it gets behind. But we got quite a few different investigations at Riverside, and it's maybe very little to nothing to flashlights lighting up. You just you never know. But there's more I want to do in there. I definitely want to go back to Henry's gravesite and try another investigation there. Um, so I've been working on, like the newspapers.com stuff as well. So, like the Dewey and John Pate and all those things too. So I've been kind of moving around a lot, you know, uh, different places to bring you guys stories of things that's happened and the investigations that go with them. And that's why I like doing um, the podcast, so I can kind of get more in depth in things that I am investigating or just really interesting things. Oh, thank you, Bam. Appreciate that. You got everything. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't have a lot more about Riverside. That was it. Just some things that I've heard and things I've experienced. Hopefully, I'll experience more in a good positive way, not a bad negative energy way. Consider. I thought about going to Riverside today. My plan was, I was in a Black Mountain of where I was at. So I was going to film there today, and then the rain started. So I headed back towards Asheville. I thought, well, maybe I can. There's a few cemeteries along the way, and then Riverside. And the closer I kept getting back to Asheville, that's where the rain was at mostly. So I just had to shut it down. I just couldn't do it. I don't know if I want. I may try to do something tomorrow. It's not raining tomorrow, but still with a lot of the stuff going on that um, birthdays and babies coming and weddings going on. It's hmm September has come in with a fury already. And it's just the first day. But anyway, so I don't see why I wouldn't do an investigation Sunday night. I should be able to, unless I'm just so exhausted that I don't do it. But I should be able to. I'm trying to decide what I want to do this weekend. Um, I just heard a car door shut. Okay, I guess the neighbors. Hey, Mystic, what is up? So I'm trying to figure out what I want to do. I got two fidget spinners in here now, but neither one of them's moved yet. What I thought was pretty crazy was the cat ball going off. We hadn't had that happen in a long time, and that happened Sunday night. So if you didn't see Sunday night's investigation, please go check it out. It was pretty wild. Yeah, it's been busy. I'm trying to trying to keep the investigations at around um, an hour or so. I'm trying. I listen to people's comments or read them or whatever, and seems like once you get past an hour, a lot of people lose interest with things sometimes, um, especially if there's a lot of talking. Somebody had commented, "I rather see investigations than a lot of talking." I think they commented on mine or some. I can't remember whose it was, and but I think it was my Twitter is where it was at. Um, so I mean, everybody's got different preferences of what they want to see or hear. Some people like the conversations. We're doing good, Mystic. I hope you are. But so everybody's got different ideas of what they want, you a live stream to be like. So I'm trying to, I mean, as long as it's staying pretty busy, I'm trying to keep it going as long as the spirits want to go. But I do too get tired. It is very draining sometimes, especially if they're very active. Because I know they're using my energy, and there's not a lot I can do other than just tell them no. But it's still, I can tell you Sunday night when I got back in the house, probably within 15, 20 minutes, I think I was out. I think I was asleep. That's just how tired I was. And then there's some nights, I can stay up a little longer and, just ease into sleep. It kind of depends on how busy it is out here. Silence. So, but I mean, I tried. I say I hopped into. I'm trying to hop into everybody's live streams that I possibly can. Like, what was it last night? I hopped into April's for a little bit and listened in, and then I went to Oracle's, uh, Cassie's live stream for a little bit and listened in. So, um, you know, I I'm trying to. I mean, there's people are on it, so there's so many on at one time too, and you're just trying to catch up. There's no talking, be like crickets. Yeah, that can happen too sometimes. Um, but I think one of the concerns that they had that I was messaged about was somebody said when you have a lot of people talking, they're talking over each other, they're missing the chat. And the same person had mentioned, I'm not going to say who these people are, but I had mentioned, a lot of times I go in a chat and nobody sees what I say. They too busy or talking to each other. They're not paying attention to me in my chat. And, and I try to make, to me personally, I want to make sure that I catch everything I can. Um, everybody's comments are important to me. And And I hope I didn't make that person feel that way, but so that does happen. I mean, I know I've been in live streams where we've all chatted and missed, you know, the comments, and I try not to do that if I possibly can. Oh Lord, your kitty cat. Yeah, it is hard to. Yeah, a lot of people are on different times, and there's times people have to make up because they didn't, couldn't go live the night they usually do, and all those things. That's very understandable. I've been asked to move different nights, and I want to try to do some more day streams with these podcasts as well. Kind of, so that way I can try to, you know, getting, be able to talk to people I don't see at nights. Um, so we did one with my daughter. It was during the day one day, and people came in that I don't normally see, or people I hadn't seen in a long time. So got glance. Um, so I don't know. I thought about maybe moving the live streams around a little bit. Sunday night, Saturday night, Friday nights, Tuesday nights, whatever, Monday nights, whatever. But maybe just to try to reach other people. And people are not able to come in on Wednesdays and Sundays. But I've listened to, when people message me, I listen, and um everybody's got different preferences. Like I say, what they want. Monster, Tristan. No monsters allowed. Nothing evil. Well, guys, I think I'm getting close to the hour time here. If anybody's got any questions, please ask before we go, and I'll try to answer them. Oh, you're good, Bama. I know that you and my mom or Celia sometimes will have your apps going, and I was hoping one of these guys was tonight because I wanted to see if there's anything related to what I was talking about coming through, and things like that. So it's always interesting to see on podcast nights what you all are getting because it just tells me how in depth the spirits are to listening to what we're talking about. All right, good night, Jenny. Yeah, we're fixing to head off here too, I think, and call it a night, guys. Um, but thank you all for being here tonight. I do appreciate it. So we're gonna go ahead and call it a night, and hope everybody has a good night. And we will see you Sunday. You got Forrest. I've gotten that in Riverside before too. That name. You got Sue. Um, Forrest, I think, is what came up one time in there. No, you're good, Bama. You're good. I really encourage because it helps me know what the spirits are hearing from me sometimes. So, like if we're talking about like if you've gotten like graveyard, if you've gotten thing. I mean, it helps me know that the spirits are listening in. It sounds like it's pouring the rain outside. I think maybe, but anyway, it helps me know. I encourage it, Bam, and thank you all for doing that. It's very helpful to me um, because there's times when like I say, but you never know too, Bama, when a spirit might give us an answer to something I'm talking about too. Um, so you never know. You never know. And when on Sunday nights when y'all are doing that, it helps me with the investigations. There's times that you all are getting things that's related, and it might be helpful to the investigations. Sometimes we'll get the K2s or stuff go off, and um, helps answer stuff because they've answered your question before, Bama. So and mom and sis and others that do that. Um, what was it? Help, I think, is what you brought up twice, once before, Bama, and the spirits were, I think the K2 or something went off. So you never know. So y'all having that app on is a very big help. Because you never know when Jay might put her name in there. She may surprise us one day, and you never know whose app it might be. Hmm. Maybe that was a card. I don't know what. It sounded like big pouring down rain for a moment, but I don't know. It sounds good on that tin roof in here, though. Yeah, it was Jane. Yep, and oh yeah, it's pouring down rain. I can hear it now. But anyway, so yeah, I do appreciate that a lot. I thought the rain was over with, to be honest with you. I don't know if you guys can hear that or not, but it sounds nice. It puts you to sleep. But I think I want to be in my own bed tonight, not out here in the shed sleep. Although I will try that one night. I will try to stay out here one night, all night. And luckily, I got that night vision camera out here, so I'll be able to. Hopefully, if there's anything to pick up, it picks it up. Yeah, similar words. Yeah, we usually do. Well, Mom got Thomas. Um, yeah, we do get similar words, which helps us out. Wow, that rain's coming down big time. Let me see how much longer this rain's going to last. I really don't want to walk out in it and it get my stuff. I mean, I keep my stuff in a bag, but you never know. It must be pretty quick because it's not showing anything on the radar the next 10 to 15 minutes. So Marnie laughs because I always look at the radars and stuff. But it helps me know when to film or not to film, or what time I can film. There's a Hurricane Larry that's headed to, like, could be, uh, it could hit anywhere between South Carolina all the way up to New York. It's kind of heading that direction. I used to hurricane watch it when I worked years ago at a place, and people, where's a hurricane at? I'm like, well, let's look. I like looking at that. Hey, Daryl, how are you? So I guess we'll stay live for a little bit longer till this rain passes by. There's no sense in me rushing back in right now. I don't know if let me know if you can hear that. It's loud right now. And I don't even see, well, yeah, so it must be like moving out of here pretty doggone quick. Let's have like the past. Yeah, it's probably going to be over the next 5-10 minutes. That is wild. Need to get some more stories together for another pod. Yep, you do. Yep, got to do some more podcasts. I like to get Bama back up here again, Amy. I don't know if y'all hear that tinging. Um, I'm doing good. I'm not really minding the rain too much, although we had a lot of it from Hurricane Fred. It just swamped us all up here in North Carolina. But that's one of those. It's not like a heavy, heavy downpour, but it's a good shower. Kind of like when you like turn the shower head on. It's kind of like that. You can hear there's a something like a pot or something out here. I think I don't know. It's hitting something, and you can hear it tinging out there. And it sounds like it's starting to go away. That's pretty cool. And I think it's going to be like in the 70s and 80s. Tomorrow's going to be real nice. Mr. or is it Mr. or Miss Cat? Mystic. But either way, Cat, you be nice. We had a cat one time. He was real old, and by the time me and Marnie got him, but there would be times he would meow all the time. He wanted to eat like all the time, and although he didn't really get into too much, it was just the meowing. I miss him now. He died back in 1st of January, but he was a good cat. Boy, yeah. Ours was a boy too. Um, well, be a good boy, cat. Be good. Um, we lost our little dog Peaches back in December too, and it was him or her, and then him. So now, I'm not. I've never been really a real big cat person, although I've had quite a few in my life. Um, he'll be oh God, Misty. Oh, yeah, there you go, Missus. If you don't behave, he'll be a girl. Bama's got something always fun. Oh Lord. They are like family. You're right. Peaches our dog. Me and Marty has been together what 7 years, and she was with Marty. A few years before me and her got together. But 7 years of our time together has been with Peaches, and that was tough. That was really tough. Tang, our cat, was tough, but he'd only been with us maybe a year and a half, 2 years. We got him from Marnie's parents, so I didn't really get that close of attachment to him like I did Peaches. But still, yeah, it was still tough and it was hard. He's already been neutered, but thank God. Oh Lord. Oh man. Well, guys, I think I'm gonna get ready to shut it down. I think this rain's fixing to pass on. I'm gonna head in the house. But thank you all for being here tonight. And we'll be doing not sure what the podcast will be next week yet. I'm kind of playing it by ear because I have sent out a few invites and I haven't heard back yet. Well, one I did hear back and they're not able to right now, um but so anyway, it'll be playing it by ear until then. But definitely be Sunday night. We'll do our investigation, see if that mirror is still active, and see if what other spirits might want to talk to us. I guess he's looking for what he lost. Oh God. Oh man. Oh Lord. But if anything, it might make him more of a pain. Yeah, it can. Sometimes I can do that to him. Sometimes they can be like real calm and peace, just real relaxed, and then sometimes it just drives them nuts. So I'd be mad too, Mystic. Oh Lord, thank you, Daryl. Yeah, we're going to be Sunday night 9:30. Um, we'll do our investigation. May try the blue light this time. Oh, let me know if you think what you think about the lights and stuff. The red light, blue light, green light, red light. Um, Blue looks real wild when you do the blue. Um, but we'll see. I'll put the K2 with the mirror, see if it's active, see if we get anything out of it, and yeah, we'll see what happens, guys. So I'm going to get all this stuff put together and try to head in the house here in a few minutes. Maybe this rain will be gone by then. But thank y'all for being here tonight. Love y'all. We will talk soon. Good night, everyone. Bye.